This is Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio, with Emily and with Gareth.
Good morning,
We're live from Edinburgh.
We are.
We say that as if it's something really spectacular. Like you never see anything or hear anything that's from a different city or whatever. But anyway. And yeah, so we are.
We're very
and if you want to
excited
text
to be
us, I mean, oh, sorry.
I was talking, but it's fine. It's all about you.
Thanks. I'm glad we've established that early. Yeah, if you want to text us about anything, this is actually all about the listeners.
Okay.
You can text us on 8 12 15. I say 8 12 15. Let me hear you say 8 12 15. Everybody say
8 12 Shouldn't 15. It be 0131 8 12 15?
No.
Oh, that's going to confuse them.
No. And Tom Wrigglesworth is our guest today. Tom Wrigglesworth is up here with his one-man show that we all went and saw last night. Well, Gareth didn't go, because Gareth, you're up here doing your own show.
Yeah, my show was on at the same time. So, yeah I didn't go.
No.
That's what happened.
No, I noticed that. Yes.
Can't be at two places at once.
No.
Yeah, I'm doing my own show, Stand Up Between Songs. It was good last night.
I went to see it.
I don't like the sound of it was good last night, though.
No,
That's
but we had a text in already,
it?
Frank, on 8 12 15.
If someone said to you about their relationship and they said, "Oh, yeah, our relationship was good last night," you think, "Oh." So
I consider that a great review of what happens in one of my relationships.
Well, the thing is, the audience is different every night, so it's different every day. And I'm always the same.
Really?
But the audience changes. Maybe I should change slightly as well. Oh, it's good.
Don't commit to anything too early. So we've had a text.
Yeah,
First
we've had a text in
the day.
from Hamish T in Edinburgh. I'm not being rude, but he sounds made up. Have you sent this in? Because that doesn't sound like Hamish from Edinburgh.
You can't. Not just anyone can get a Gmail account.
Okay. Hi everybody, just saying that I've just got home from seeing Gareth at the Fringe. Me and my dad thought you were fantastic. I was the son of the Belgian fishman. Oh, not the preacher man.
No. Oh yeah, Belgian fishman. No,
that would have been a great Dusty Springfield track, the son of the Belgian fishman. Oh yes, it was. Yes, he was. I imagine there'd be a bit of chocolate involved.
Oh yeah.
Just the Belgiques. I love it.
So, Frank, why are you up here?
Well, I am slightly in disgrace, I'll be honest with you, because I was going to do a show up here, a sort of a chat show thing.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to go into too much detail because I'll end up, moaning.
Yeah.
But there was, it looked like it might not happen properly as we discussed. And in the end, I pulled out. I pulled out. And I feel bad. I feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
I feel bad about pulling out of anything. And I mean, I'm a Catholic. Even so, I did what that bloke on the American aeroplane did. I'm afraid I took the slide. It happened. I took the safety slide. I removed all sharp objects, but I took the slide. No, obviously, I'm slightly. I was walking around in Edinburgh when I first arrived in Edinburgh. I thought everyone's looking at me, thinking, "Oh, you've got a nerve turning up after you pulled out that show." Like Adolf Eichmann walking around Tel Aviv in the 50s. That's what I felt like.
I did. I walked around with you yesterday, and you did have that feeling of you were looking for snipers.
Yeah. Oh man,
it's fine. I think you did the right thing.
I have a terrible unease. That's what I have. If you want to text and abuse me about that, you can at 8 12 15. Hamish T, I presume, is invented.
Hamish T.
No, I remember him and his dad being there very well. It was one of the quieter shows, but they were a lovely audience.
One of the less good nights.
I wouldn't say it was less good, because Hamish was there, his dad, the Belgian fishman, was. He was one of those people who talk to the audience and you go, "Oh, what do you do?" You go, "Oh, I couldn't tell you, I'll have to kill you."
Oh, one of those like that.
No, now we really have to know what you do. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I work for the fisheries in Belgium." Well, he did all the fisheries stuff in the EU. It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So I suppose you got all your...
Not funny,
but... You got all your fishing industry material
that was
reeled all that out. I say reeled. I say reeled.
Yeah,
I say reeled all that out.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, I wish I'd been there that night. But I will.
I wish you'd been there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have...
Reeled, that's good.
I know a bit about...
Just going to write that down.
Godgin. That's what I know about. Oh yeah, all three faders with one hand. Quite pleased with that. We're in a completely different studio, so all the equipment's different. Yeah. So I'm like Rick Wakeman on all three keyboards over here at the moment, doing the Wives of Henry VIII on ice.
Where's your cloak?
Where's my clothes? I thought you were going to say. That's always a good thing to say on radio. Just throws people first thing in the morning. So I wandered around the streets of Edinburgh. You know, you always get street entertainers.
Oh yeah,
in
especially
Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And I saw a bloke doing keepy-uppy. Did you see him? He had a Brazil shirt on, a Brazil football shirt.
Yeah.
And he's doing keepy-uppy.
Oh, was he?
Doesn't sound that impressive, but he was on crutches, and he was doing the keepy-uppy with the crutches.
That is impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Those crutches, I don't know if there's a technical term, the ones that grip at the forearm.
Oh, I know exactly
You
those.
see a lot of them in
Yeah.
Edinburgh, actually. They're a drinker's crutch. They're people who've just stepped in front of a boss at like 2 o'clock in the morning type of a crutch. Anyway, he was doing that. It struck me from watching him for a bit, because I was impressed that he looked quite steady on his legs. And now I'm thinking, he's not a disabled person. He's just a person who can do keepy-uppy with crutches.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's morally acceptable, is it?
Oh, I
Right.
see.
Because that is essentially that's pretending
Yeah.
to be a disabled person.
Well, it's implied, isn't it?
Well, if I sat in a wheelchair asking for money 6 feet away, people would think, well, that's a bit bad. If I had one leg folding under me, say, one of those things.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Does that mean I can't use the mobility scooter to get around then? Because that's what you seem to be applying, Frank Skinner.
Well, I don't know if we've had this debate before, but I've often dreamt of using a mobility scooter. And I once brought it up at a sort of middle-class party. And I was saying, I saw a bloke, and he had a chess computer on the front. You get like a little table at the front of you. He had a book and a chess computer. I thought, well, look, this bloke's got everything.
Yeah.
He had saddlebags at the side. You can. Oh man, life is a dream. I mean, obviously not. The fact that you
There's
have
drawbacks.
There's drawbacks. But I said to the people at this party, do you think it'd be morally okay if I got a disability scooter, and just as a practicality, and they poo-pooed it.
Oh, God.
No, because I think if you haven't got a disability, it just seems like laziness.
Yeah.
Just like me, I at university used to imagine being pushed around on a trolley just because I didn't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And
I like the way you said
What's all
I
about
at
that?
university. Sounded a bit like I Claudius, which I enjoy. University.
I am reading I Claudius at the moment, so maybe that's why.
He was pushed around, I think, on a mobile bed. If I remember right. That's where you got the idea from. If you'd have gone to
Don't tell me
Rag
the
Week, Rag Week, they're always pushing beds around the street, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, they do, don't they? They love a bed through the street.
Oh,
Anyway,
God,
never
student
mind about
tradition.
everyone else. What about me? What
Yes.
about why I'm here? I'm here essentially to make style statements.
Right.
No, I'm not really. I've followed you two up here. Let's be honest, haven't I? But I love it. But I had a bit of an unfortunate journey up here, Frank, on the train. Well, I was sat in standard class.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
How could this
I
happen?
apologise.
How could anyone let this happen?
Well, it's broken Britain again. What can you do?
Cutbacks.
And there
Never
was.
got cutbacks.
Well, there were some nice girls, and they looked my kind of girl. They had nice bag and hair and makeup. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, they might be friends. We might start talking. Well, as I was on the phone talking to my mother, name-dropping wildly, so everyone in the carriage could hear, yes, I'm going to see Frank. Yes, I might see Jimmy while I'm up there. Suddenly...
Frank and Jimmy.
Isn't that what everyone in Edinburgh's called? Including the women.
The girl opposite me, I promise this is true, she suddenly leans over, takes my bottle of water, starts drinking it.
Had you already had a swig?
Yes!
That
goodness.
is bizarre, isn't it?
So I thought, I went like this, I'm going to have to call you back. I love saying that.
Wow.
I'd have said, anyway, Mum, and I've got the appointment at the herpes clinic. That's all fixed up.
Sorry, Mum. There's
Well, what was that about, then?
Well, I soon found out. I said, excuse me, I think that's my water you've just drunk from. And she said, right, well, I've had a sip now, so...
Oh, so it was an accident, was it?
No, well, she was implying, possession is 9/10 of the law. I've had a sip now, so I may as well have it.
Oh, I'm glad it got judicial. That's very interesting. Well, I more of this, I think, after this.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio, Edinburgh, etc., etc. And you can text us on 81215. What else? Oh,
Yeah.
I was
Frankie Howard in the building.
Yes, I was stopped by a lady in the street yesterday in Edinburgh. You know, people always giving you leaflets for shows.
Oh, yeah,
It's a very actory type, very nice woman. She said, I don't know if you remember, we met at the National Theatre at As You Like It. I said, ooh. So, and I think she sensed that I didn't remember, but you can't remember everyone in life. It wasn't any disrespect. Anyway, she gave me a leaflet for her show, and she said, this was a strap line. She said, it's not so much a play as a common play.
Oh, it doesn't sound very
I like this. I thought that was clever. Because some people, they just give you a leaflet and that's that. She had a little line that came with it.
A common play. I don't understand.
Come
a
and
common play.
Like Come As You Are.
See how many people have wandered on thinking commonplace.
She's suggesting
What's
I'm
that? You know how many?
not the
One.
aristocracy.
And he's in this studio. Commonplace, and the idea it's a playful,
Right,
enjoyable, maybe a bit of audience participation. It's about a wolf, the thing. So
About what?
a wolf. So I think there's a wolf in it.
You shouldn't play
and
with
there's
a
a lot of
wolf.
audience participation, etc. Anyway, I enjoyed that, I must say.
Oh.
I had a bit of a train experience. No
Go
one
on.
drank. Oh, what happened to the woman who drank your
well,
water?
in
Did you
the
tell her
end-
off?
Well,
She
what do
was
you
murdered.
think? Yeah.
She was murdered.
Yeah.
So she said, I've had a sip. That's where we left our listeners dangling. She said, I said, I think that's my water. And she said, oh, well, I've had a sip now.
Not even a sorry.
No. So I said...
It is the
Oh.
hardest word, though. I read that somewhere.
Seems to be.
Or is that sorry? I think it might be sorry. I think that's the hardest word in Gujarati.
I find the hardest word is standard for anything
Yeah.
class, particularly. So I said, oh, right, well, it is my water, though. My tone raised a bit, tone got a bit tougher there. So she said, but I've got one really similar. Well, yeah, it's a bottle of water. They don't look that different
Oh,
from
you
one
don't. You
another.
don't have some. You didn't have one of those. Those water bottles you see in the cowboy films that have got that sort of Indian design around them. I'm talking about North American, Native American people now.
I know.
I forgot what you're allowed to call them.
Native Americans.
Native American design. Was it one of those, like a saddle bottle?
No, they were just a plate. So in the end, there was a bit of a moment. But do you know, by the end of the journey, like a lot of my friendships, it started with a very unpleasant confrontation.
Yeah.
And we
swapping
became firm
saliva.
friends. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I love her now.
Well, look, you were both fully
Wow.
hydrated, and that's very important for conversation generally, I think. I remember being stuck in the Gobi Desert, a 4x4 overturned. We were there for a day and a half. Conversation dried up, as did everything else. And I thought hydration, that's what you need for a good chat.
You were about to say something. What was it?
I'm always about to say something. If you think about it, if you think about life in general, you're always about to say something.
You are.
Except when you die. Otherwise, what is the point of even bothering to go on? I say, what's the point of... Here's a track that I chose myself. It's just like machine noises now, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's Love Amongst Ruin with So Sad.
Oh, I know all about that.
Yeah, but it's good, that, I think. I've been told I'm not close enough to the microphone. I've just had that note.
We had a phone call in.
Well, I mean, on my nose is against the foam bit. Like the foam bit, as you can see.
yeah, I
Listen, this is my nose on it. You hear that?
I just said
mean-
if he gets any closer, it's going to be in his pants. It will be.
Oh, I thought he was having a flashback. So we had an email. I thought a good one.
Yes, it's from Nick Doherty.
I had to say that, you see, or
Doherty.
Gareth would have just sat looking at me like when a dog looks at you when you talk to it with a slight tilt of the head. Pardon?
OMG, I just had one of those stupid eureka moments. The band, The Doors. Do you think it's a pun on the thing printed on tickets, e.g. Doors 8 p.m? For when the concert starts.
I should say that a while back someone talked about idiotic eureka moments. This thing when you suddenly realise after many years, like Sooty and Sweep is a pun.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
And you realised about BT in the BT advert,
Yes.
the character.
I did. I own up to that. And now this bloke, The Doors,
Yes.
Yeah.
he's saying because it says Doors 8 o'clock on ticket. Yeah. And that band Carriages. Do quite a lot of quite late gigs. So often 1 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that.
And restricted seating. They do a lot of gigs.
No, that's never a time next to that. That just doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
Can we edit? Oh, we can't. Live, you say? Well, that's a bit reckless.
So, but I don't think it's that clever if it is the
Who's
reason.
talking? I can't see you past the microphone. I'm so close to it now. My face is just foam. It's as if I was dating Miss Piggy. If you can imagine such a thing. Poor sign, I know, but with a certain charm. Yeah, so I was in Norway a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Regular listeners will know that. And as I flew back with my girlfriend side by side on the aeroplane, Air Norway, it's a budget airline, we won't go into it. She was reading Psychology Today, which is quite a serious magazine about. Well, obviously it's about psychology.
Yeah.
And there was an whole thing in there, people talking about the worst advice that they'd ever had. Now, I think we've talked about advice on the show before, but never the worst advice. And I think it's quite an interesting topic, because some people, they love giving advice. And I'd say perhaps 87% of all advice is bad. Would you say that's a fair percentage?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I haven't researched that, just a gut feeling.
It's people that are very keen to give advice that often aren't very good at it, I find.
Yes, well, exactly. I mean, par exemple, my brother, Terry, I remember him saying to me when I was about 14, when you start dating, he said, he assumed I hadn't started.
Yeah.
He was right. He said, when you start dating, he said, on the first date, always be a minimum of an hour late. That's what he said
terrible.
to me. He said, honestly, he said, I've been on the bus, he said, and I've arrived, because people then, they arrived for dates on the bus. That's a simple fact. Don't look at me like that, Emily. He said, I've seen her waiting when I've arranged, and I've thought, well, I'll go on 2 or 3 stops and then wait and come back.
Terry?
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I never dated Terry, not just because of that, to be honest.
But you see, the truth is, I never had the courage to try that advice out, because when I got a date, I was so excited.
You were so happy.
Way could I have waited. I think I was there an hour before.
That takes a lot of confidence.
Actually laying scent like a tomcat. Not deliberately, it just emanated from me. In a sort of short jet. I wasn't. Well, anyway. So I never tried that out, but...
I once got bad advice from a friend. I was going out with a guy, and she said... I said, I think the relationship's over. I think we've, it's run its course. And it got to the stage where, when men get snappy... because they don't want to chuck you, but they want rid of you, so they just start snapping you over the most ridiculous things.
Yeah.
And so she said, I've decided I'm going to end the relationship. And she went, oh, don't ever end a relationship. Just, what do you mean don't ever end a relationship? She said, no, you just have to, you just have to wait until they do. It's much less hassle that way. Just hang on in there.
Wow.
Hang on in there.
You have to wait till they do.
Yeah. You must always wait till they do.
I think some people have this theory that, as you say, like with some men, they don't want to end it, so they just behave so horribly.
Yeah.
They figure the other person will walk away.
Yeah.
As men do that, I think.
Yeah.
I don't have experience with
It's
that.
sounding like you're some hard guy. Yeah, I do that all the time to the ladies.
No, I don't do that, but I know people who have. And it's like, well, you just don't want to be in it. Well, no. I've had bad... My dad gives a lot of advice.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing he used to say constantly through my childhood was if I showed any interest in girls at all, he would say, oh, girls are poison.
Oh.
Which, I mean,
I've never ate one, but I imagine that some parts of them are poison.
Yeah.
I think you have to take out at the Great Bell. Is it called the Great Bell, or is that something that happened in China in the 17th century? Yeah, well, my dad, what about his advice? He said to me once, I remember, he said, always have a bit of salt in your pocket. Half an inch of salt just in the... He said, not just in the pocket itself. He said, if anyone stops you late at night, you think it's going a bit wrong. He said, just make as if you're raising your hand to just throw salt in the face.
That'll stop them in their tracks, those hoodies.
Yeah, exactly.
And 3 men were found in the street, well seasoned, the other day.
I'm loving it. So if you've had any bad advice, do text us on 81215, and we'd love to hear it. I'm in love.
This is Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Oh, shut up now.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
Everyone will think, I don't remember him coming in really late at the end like that. Oh, that's a
It's
really good bit.
uncanny.
Yeah, it's like that bit at the end of Walk on the Wild Side when that saxophone solo that comes in that sounds like Sweep from Sooty and Sleep. It sounds like, you can imagine like Sweep's got up Sunday morning going off to play football and someone's parked the car over his drive, he can't get the car off, and he's shouting at the neighbour is what it sounds like.
Don't mention Lou Reed. You know I'm phobic about him. Anyway, we've had some texts in, Frank, on 81215.
See, they do reach Edinburgh.
About the worst advice people have ever received. We've had Tom saying, my father once said, if she's going to accuse you of cheating, you might as well go and do it anyway.
Right.
That's before the marriage broke up.
Yeah. This father had some additional advice.
This is not from Peter Crouch, is it?
Oh, it could well be. He says, this is the same dad. It's disappeared, the email, so I can't read it.
Sorry.
Okay. Also, my boss was being really nasty to me and lied about me behind my back to get me fired. My dad told me, just go and knock him out and quit the job. You'll never feel better, son.
That would be right, actually.
Yeah. I love that dad.
I've never actually knocked someone out, but I hope I don't go to my grave thinking that. I think we should all, at least once in life, knock somebody out, don't you?
Oh, no. Pull a pigtail, maybe. I've done that.
Yeah.
Frank and team, my mum used to say...
That's when you lived in Peking, wasn't it? Sorry, Gareth.
Frank and team, my mum used to say, ignore them and they'll go away, about the mean kids at school. They never did. It's quite sad.
Oh, no, they never did. That's true, actually. But then I was one of the mean kids, so that was good for me.
You see, a friend of mine told me that about chlamydia.
Frank! Oh, my God.
And she did go away.
Frank?
You remember her there? She used to live. Big girl. So, what else? Did you see did you see Fabio Capello and the David Beckham thing?
Oh, I love it.
It was just an interview, a casual interview, and ITV did this thing of just making Fabio stand there. They didn't, not sitting in a seat. I think would look a bit different. So he's standing there like a bloke at a bus, like a pensioner at a bus stop. And they said, "What about David Beckham?" And he suddenly went, "Thank you for helping me in the World Cup." I thought, has he come in? The interview's looking round. Oh, hold on, what? Thank you for helping me in the World Cup. No, I didn't say, have you got a message that we can play? It's not hospital radio, Fabio. What do you... And he says, thank you for helping me in the World Cup. But no, he's too old. And then he started really laughing. Really laughing. No, he's too old. And look, it's great that he hadn't told Beckham or anything.
I love it.
He just spoke about it casually with no restraint or sensitivity.
He's gone slightly mental. I'm enjoying watching the meltdown.
There's a hint of slight senility about him. I have a worry that he's going to be found in North London walking around with no trousers on. He's got that kind of sense. But, that doesn't make him a bad person.
But it's got that...
Thank you for helping me in the world. Yes, you're going to thank David Beckham for his contribution to the England team. Perhaps not just hanging around like a spare part at the worst campaign we've ever been involved in.
Also, I worry, someone saying, I say thank you for helping me very much, but you're probably a little bit too old. That's kind of how a lot of men break up with me.
We can't top that. Another woman in the street, actually.
Oh, yeah.
In Edinburgh. 'Cause at the Edinburgh Festival, people...
Yeah.
As I walked past, she offered me a leaflet, and she went, 1950s jazz. And I'd gone to reach out for the leaflet, and I withdrew my hand.
I think that's perfectly acceptable on hearing the words.
Smacked her face. I should have knocked her out, looking back. That's my advice.
Well, that's what Tom's dad would have suggested.
I'd have been assaulting me pocket. I could have blinded her.
The old dads are right.
Exactly.
Oh... We've had some other good, really great sort of old-fashioned advice from Chris, saying, my nan told me I should have a good stiff drink before I took my driving test to calm my nerves.
Oh, God.
I love an old nana.
I love a bit of drinking and driving. Can we say it on Absolute Radio?
No.
We definitely don't.
We don't endorse that at all.
Oh, goodness me, no.
And we were talking about how men just treat women badly. Instead of breaking up, they just treat them badly until the woman breaks up.
Is it just men that do that?
Yeah, it is. It's a really male thing, because I've got a whole theory about that. I know what that is.
Go on.
Well, it's to do with how men like to be. Their reputation's very important to them. So that's the worst thing that can happen to a man is the idea of people talking about him saying, "Oh, he treated me really badly." So that's why they do that.
But
we're not so bothered about reputation, to be honest.
That doesn't make
We're really
sense.
not.
So why does he treat them badly then?
Because then what happens is they'll just think the worst thing that can happen is you them dumping someone. It's better just to think, the
I see.
relationship failed, and they want you to think you ended up chucking them. Don't say, like you've never done it before.
Yeah, well, anyway. So what does the text say, Gareth?
Christine from West Hampstead said, "Hi, I didn't know that about men. My last boyfriend spent 3 years trying to get rid of me. Thanks for the info."
Now, there's something sinister about the sound. My last boyfriend, who was in a shallow grave in an allotment. So has he ended? That's what we want to know. Don't leave us hanging there.
Yeah, it says last boyfriend, so I guess that could be...
Oh, she's in West Hampstead there. It's a lovely area. She'll be fine.
Yeah. Last boyfriend. Is that some sort of declaration?
Yeah.
Well, more details, I think.
Frank on radio. Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Absolute Radio.
Here I am back at the microphone. Don't panic, anyone.
Pop it back in your pants.
Don't keep saying that.
No, but I'm sorry. But that's what they were suggesting.
Please, this is not Moilsy. Do you think I'm Moilsy? So, yes, Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio, Emily, Gareth, and Tom Wrigglesworth is our guest.
Oh, we went to see him last night.
Yeah, of course we did, because we like to do our research. So he'll be in shortly. Yes.
What was that hilarious thing you were saying last week on the podcast?
Well, I have to say that.
in the midweek podcast.
Well, some of you may know that we do a thing called Not the Weekend podcast, which is a podcast of completely original material that we brings out on Wednesday.
Very popular with our
completely
listeners.
original.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to listen to that because I was away last week, wasn't I? So was it really good?
I think arguably it's my best ever work. Do you remember the time capsules they used to have on Blue Peter? And they used to put stuff in. If they ever make a Frank Skinner time capsule, so that if people say in 1,000 years' time, say there's some sort of blitz attack on London and they find it tucked under a large Victorian building, and they say, well, what was Frank Skinner all about? I'd be happy if it was just that podcast.
Oh, brilliant.
Of course, that's a bit hypothetical.
Yeah. We'll never know, Frank.
No, because I had a phone call on Monday. Bear in mind, I just pulled out of the Edinburgh show. I felt like a honk of excrement. And then I got a phone call from our producer, Emma, saying, guess what? I said, well, I don't know.
Guess what?
I don't know. Give us a clue. And she said, well, the clue is... I pressed the wrong button when we did the podcast, so
Did she say, I thank you for helping me with podcast, but now you're getting too old?
She did. She did. No, that's what I said. I said, with a big laugh. So it's gone for it. So those of you who tried to download the podcast, can I tell you, I mean, I honestly think there's a real, genuine possibility that if we'd played it, it was so funny that I think it could have turned around the post-recession plots in this country. I think it would have invigorated just the spirit of the nation to a level. People who would have worked that little bit harder, not worried so much about, not having electricity. And
it would have been life-changing. Oh, Frank,
world
she felt
changing.
terrible.
Can we change that to world-changing in the edit?
Frank, she felt
in
terrible,
the off chance
though.
that this has been recorded.
The producer is here, I should say, and we're humiliating her in a slightly Chris Moyles fashion.
I think you're looking quite sexy in sackcloth and ashes. I think it suits you. That's your northern thing coming out. They love a bit of sackcloth up there. Hessian. It's their thing.
When she said something terrible has happened, I thought I'd been replaced by Rusty Lee. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, I'd have looked forward to that hearty laugh every Saturday morning. And maybe a little bit of bang bang chicken. That's not a euphemism for anyone who's listening. It's a dish. It's a West Indian dish. She's a West Indian dish, I know that much. Supports Leicester City. Not many people know that, Rusty Lee. There she is, just passing a window. Oh no, it's Trevor Francis. So that's gone forever. But it doesn't do to dwell on these things, does it?
The only podcast without me.
Yeah.
That's a shame that doesn't exist
I wondered
anymore.
if you didn't have a hand in it. Well, Rusty Lee's come in again. Yeah. So it's sounding a bit more feminine than usual. I'm going to play a fall track, before we get Tom in. And this always differs, from day to day. You feel differently. But I think this is genuinely up there as my favourite fall track ever. This is the Jawbone and the Air Rifle. Oh, that's absolutely magnificent. That was the Fall, Jawbone and the Air Rifle. Tom Wrigglesworth has joined us in the studio in Edinburgh. Hello, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great seeing you all close up, because last night we were right in the back row at
Was
your...
it?
Well, it
Yeah,
was
we
it
were.
was crammed. There wasn't room to swing
It
a
was
cat.
so packed there.
Did you
One
always,
Edinburgh woman tried to swing a cat.
There's always one, isn't there?
Yeah,
One,
exactly.
Selfish.
I spent... I'll tell you what I spent... This is a strange way to start the interview, but the way the lighting was, from a distance, it looked like you had two hairstyles. You had your look. Tom, I should say, in case you don't know, Tom, has got very long hair.
It's magnificent.
It's really like Woodstock poster hair. But it's almost the way it was. It looks like you've also got short hair.
Did he really?
Yeah. So from I
Yeah.
can't see it now.
Yeah,
you
I
see,
understand that, Frank.
but so I could see you both if as you are and
Yeah.
as you could be with a haircut.
Well, as I was.
Yeah, it was like a magic eye kind of.
Why was
Effect.
that then?
I think it was something to do with the lighting. I
It's
don't
sort of
know.
a bit backlit, so you could see his silhouette through the
Yeah,
hair
I think
as well
maybe
as
that
the...
was right.
Is it worth me mentioning?
I honestly think it's something that yeah, you could. And no one's going to nick that material, because it'll take
No.
them at least a year and a half to
Yeah,
grow
exactly.
that
No one's
crop.
going to get to that effort, are
Well, they could use wigs.
You could use wigs.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to
Joe
replicate.
Pasquale will be straight on to his wig maker. Can you... I saw this, good lord! Can you... Who is this? It's you! Who is this? There's something wrong. Anyway,
I'm lighting designer. He'd need one of them as well. To replicate these.
you'd probably get yours. Anything second-hand you'll go for. So, Tom, can you explain, for those of you who have no idea what
Yeah.
the show's about, because it's quite complicated.
It's brilliant, though. I really
But
like
can you
it.
explain it sort of in a nutshell?
Yeah, no, I can't really. I can
Oh,
have a
well,
stab-
there
I
you
can
go,
have a
what we're gonna
stab.
talk about.
I can prod the nut around the table with a blunt knife.
Oh, well, I thought... Is this some sort of game they play in Sheffield? There's a knife involved.
You played brick and stick when you were growing up.
That's true, but Sheffield, everything's got a knife.
It's got a knife.
I once got
Everything.
stabbed in
Nice.
Sheffield, and I thought, well, at least I'm helping local industry.
Did you really?
No.
Oh, good. I'd hate that to happen in my hometown. Well, I got married Christmas time. I ran away with the girlfriend and got married. And it's a story about that, really. And I met someone before. Most of it's true. What people don't believe is most of that story is true. I know it's a bit fast-paced.
Really?
Yeah, and I actually took bits out, because when I was previewing it, I'd say at the end, I was saying, that's kind of it. Is there any bits that you found totally unbelievable?
Oh, you debriefed. You had a debriefing from the audience. Very courageous.
Q&A, yeah. Oh, it often left in absolute farce, really. But I did it. And a lot of people would flag up moments, twists, reveals, ideas, threads that were true, and they would class them as utterly unbelievable, and I had to drop them. These things were true and couldn't be. It's really weird.
Because your style, Tom, is to tell things that's happened from your life, which I know every comic does that. But you really take them on in an. You're like an epic. You're like the sort of Homer of the modern. I don't mean the Homer Simpson. No, but you know what I mean. I if something funny happens to me, I might do like 5 minutes of material about it. Would be me getting a lot of work. But you will build a whole show on an incident. It's very kind of very courageous thing to take on.
Well, I think that's what. If this show is one thing, it's probably a little bit too ambitious.
Oh no!
Don't say
sorry, I'm
that.
talking about
Comics always do that.
I
don't they?
know.
We got to
Sorry,
see a
it's
show
so
say that
dull.
was great. Then the comics
dull.
come in on Saturday morning and say, "No, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
I'll stop.
We'll be
mentioning
the judge of that.
it.
Yes.
That's fair enough.
But your last show,
Yeah,
which was all set on a train,
yeah, that was one story.
yeah, and it was. I actually I didn't see the live show, but I heard it on Radio 4.
Oh,
I was
did
in
you?
my car, and I listened to it on Radio 4. You telling the story, and it was really joyous. You know, you hear some stuff, and when somebody gives you a story, and it's like rich and embroidered and got everything. It was great. It was a real joyous experience hearing that.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yeah. Don't tell me it wasn't true.
It was the. I think the radio one was more true. Because the embellishment.
Oh, he's getting into more
I can't
true
remember
now.
what, we had to tweak a few things for the. We had to shorten it by half for a start. That was the hardest thing about doing it. It was hard to remember to forget bits.
And Tom Wrigglesworth is our guest today. And Tom, I don't know if you noticed, Tom, you were crackling in the last.
I believe so. Yeah.
So we've moved it now. It's quite exciting because Tom's a guest, so he still gets his own mic.
I know.
But Gareth and Emily are sharing a mic, like the Beatles. You know when like, say if John Lennon was doing lead vocals.
Yeah.
And then you'd look round and there'd be John and there'd be Paul and George on one.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope they were doing witty quips in harmony.
Yeah.
I think we're like, shush, I'm talking. I think we're more like Waldorf and Statler in the Muppets. You know, those old men that used to sit on the balcony.
That was brilliant. Did they share mics?
I don't know. But their heads were
they shared a needle.
together.
Oh, no, I think I read that in a tabloid one. And the great thing, of course, Tom, is that you look like the Beatles both from 1964 and from 1970 at the same time. It's your
dual haircut look.
Exactly. You are like the history of the Beatles, which I'm
It was my girlfriend stroke wife that told me to grow my hair. This is the longest it's ever been in its life. Well,
it looks awesome.
Well, I don't even think I'm criticising it. I'm saying you're a man who's got the best of both worlds. That's what I'm saying.
It's an extraordinary feeling.
So I mentioned your last Edinburgh show there, and we were talking earlier about we did a podcast which we thought was going to change the world. It hadn't been recorded in the end, and it's lost forever. But your last Edinburgh show did change the world.
Well, yeah, yes, it did. Yes, it did. It did in a.
Can you explain?
I can. Now, if you're honest, it's such a minute change.
Well, you say that, but to me, it's what movement forward is all about.
Yeah, I suppose so. You can't, small acorns and all that.
Yeah.
You don't get ripped up.
I asked you not to bring that up. So you tell people something in confidence off air.
I couldn't sleep last night because I watched that documentary about those women that ran into the motorway.
I didn't see
Did you see it?
No. We were watching Girls of the Playboy Mansion. What?
Stick with that. These two mad Swedish ladies ran into the motorway, and then there's a documentary about it that's harrowing, and I couldn't sleep. It was giving me nightmares. So I was reading other news, and a bloke had a pea plant growing in his lung.
A pea plant?
Yeah, a pea plant growing in his lung.
Oh, dear.
That was, and you read that so it'd be less fretful.
Some sort of lullaby.
See, as soon as you've said that now, I can feel it tickling.
It was. I've not slept a membrane. I've just been up worrying about these.
So he must have inhaled a pea seed.
One. It went down the wrong way.
Oh.
Well, a pea seed is a pea.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I suppose it is. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Never mind this pea plant. I want to know how your show changed the world.
Well, from that small pea. You don't get if you get on a train and if you get an advance ticket and it's slightly for the wrong time and stuff, and they absolutely nail you to the wall and they make you pay for a full price peak time single ticket, the ticket that you would never ever buy, the one that's astronomically priced, and it's only one way. You can't even buy a return when you're on board. Now you can get an off-peak one on the train at least. That's it,
and that's because of Tom's show.
That's because of my.
Because I should say that Tom told a long and very, very funny story about an old lady who was in this self-same position. Self-same's the right phrase. I've done it. It's immortalised, and you leapt to her aid. I think it's fair to say.
Well, staggered really. I was really hungover.
Okay.
I sort of,
Did you get arrested?
Yeah. It was almighty fun. It was.
It's great being arrested when you're sticking up for an old lady, though, because you're feeling your heart of hearts.
That's what. When there was a point which I didn't bring up in the show. There's 2 points actually that are worth mentioning. One is, sadly, one of my main motivations for doing it wasn't so much to help the old woman, but was to annoy the train guard. That, and I never really revealed that fact because obviously it paints me in a not too.
Oh, I don't know.
That was actually like I felt sorry for the old woman, but the train guard had annoyed me so much that I thought I can't stand for this. I'm going to do something that'll annoy him, and so I did. I had a whip round and collected money for her. But when he threatened me with arrest, I actually said to him, I said, "Look, mate, it's midday. I've got to be at the Comedy Store, Leicester Square, at 8 o'clock. I was going to go home for a nap and then have a swim, but we can factor in an arrest. Let's do it." And I said, let's get the arrest on the go, because this day can only get more weird. I'm not going to get charged, am I? They're not going to keep me in.
Well, you knew that you'd have public opinion on your side.
Sure. Common sense. Any, exactly. Yeah.
So you actually went round the train and did a whip round to get the money for this old lady's ticket.
Yeah, I got a pound off everyone.
It's beautiful. When I heard it, honestly, it's really funny, but there is also something incredibly uplifting about the whole thing.
Yeah, I think because everyone's been done over by him, haven't they?
And I don't think it lessens the story that part of your motivation was to wind him up. I think I see you're with T.S. Eliot's Beckett, or The Last Temptation is the greatest treason to do the right deed for the wrong reason. But I think you can let yourself off the hook about this. In case you wonder what was going on there as the record ended, Emily was showing Tom
my vibrating mascara.
Yes. Which she's actually got a mascara brush that vibrates, a bit like an electric toothbrush. I think would be
tiny one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it follows exactly the same principle.
You're trying to hold it now.
I thought maybe it would make a noise. I thought it might make a noise.
Goodness sake, are you out of your mind? Now, Tom, there'll be people coming to Edinburgh every day, as there always are. So if they want to come and see your show, what's it called? Where is it? What time? I know this, but it's rhetorical.
It is. I understand that. It's called Tom Wrigglesworth's Nightmare Dream Wedding.
Yeah,
charting my recent nuptials, and it's on at the Pleasant Courtyard. Pleasant's.
Yeah,
pleasant.
I like the other. It's a pleasant courtyard. Though it's like, I see a bower of flowers. A bower, maybe a bower.
It's pleasant at about 2 p.m.
Yes.
But I'm on at 6:20. That's the.
Okay, there you go. 6:20, Pleasant
really
Courtyard. Tom Wrigglesworth.
That's very sweet of you.
And also you've got a radio. We don't normally mention Rival. I don't really see Radio 4 as a rival station, do you?
No.
I mean, who's going to think, I don't know which to listen to. It's absolute toss of a coin, absolute Radio 4.
There's not, you don't get sways of listeners jumping ship to one or the other.
We don't get sways of listeners, I'll be straight.
I mean, that's without being rude to either
I wish
party.
you hadn't. Is that the collective noun for...
What? Swathes?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Just means
do you know what the
of.
collective noun for rhinoceri is?
No.
A crash of rhinoceros.
Oh, brilliant.
Right.
Yeah.
My favourite's owl. You know owl, don't you?
A screech, is it?
No. Parliament.
A parliament.
I love it. Isn't that a Geoffrey Archer novel? Surely. Sounds
Probably
like
will
it.
be now.
Crows.
And Joe Pasquale will also cover it.
Crows.
Yeah.
A what?
A murder of crows.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
my
Anyway,
favourite.
we didn't bring you here for collective nouns.
Well, they are good though,
It's
aren't
not
they?
very cool, my bluff.
I'm told that you once got an entire front row of your gig thrown out by bouncers.
Did you? That's happened more than one. Well, yeah.
Is that more than one? That can't be right. What kind of a show is this?
Not the whole front row. I'm naturally attract audience comment often when I walk on at rowdy gigs.
But I wouldn't have thought you raised their ire. You seem a very lovable performer.
Yeah, no, but they start shouting, so I start shouting back. This argument develops, and then I'm just very good at sometimes causing utter mayhem at gigs and completely having. Yeah, I think the one you're talking about was in Manchester.
Yeah,
I got the whole front row kicked out and the entire balcony on a yellow card.
Caligula. You've gone power crazy. I wouldn't have thought it of you, Tom.
But it was like leading a riot. I mean, the gig was.
Well, no, it was undoing a riot, wasn't it? Unpicking one.
It was great.
Great sense of power, though.
It was actually. It was really good. But they shouldn't have been there. They were talking, you know.
No, you don't want them in the front row.
No.
But it did distance you from the audience, literally. By a row.
Created a moat.
Can you not say that?
I'll say about that. It's too soon, isn't it?
Yeah. So the Radio 4 show, what's it about?
It would be similar to the Richard Branson one, like David and Goliath stories.
Can I say the Richard Branson one is the one about the old lady in the train? Richard Branson hasn't recently had a series of stories on Radio 4.
No.
I imagine they'd all be about snorting things off working. Well, I'm guessing, but I imagine
Richard Branson?
Well, I just think he's had the rock and roll lifestyle, hasn't he? Big time.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Balloons. He does
well,
balloons. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Balloons.
I'm thinking of Jagger.
Balloon animals. Oh, well, I'm completely wrong. Well, Richard, if you're listening, I don't mean any disrespect to you. If you're listening in a balloon, you're doing well to pick me up. I'll be straight with you. Well, look, Tom, it's been fab talking to you.
Thanks for
and do
having
go
me.
and see Tom's show at the Pleasance at 6:20, and it's his Nightmare Dream.
Wedding.
There you go. And he's lovely. He's one of those people who you meet on a Saturday morning on the show and think, you know, there's some really good people about. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, cheers, Tom. I meant that. That was actually sincere.
I agree totally.
Yeah, okay. Speaking of you, somebody, we got onto this thing that men. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's just men, but Emily's saying it's just men. I think that they
It's just men.
Often they don't have the courage to end the relationship, so they just treat the woman so badly that in the end she has to.
She has to do the dirty work.
And we've had a few texts on this subject.
Right, so first, Matt from Guildford. Emily, you're not totally wrong, but you're not right.
Oh.
Men will only treat you like rubbish to get you to dump them if, when you're a psycho, and he feels you'd never let him go.
Really,
Oh, I see,
Matt
yeah.
from Guildford. Really. You know what he is?
What?
He's
Then
one of
be
the-
careful. This is a listener.
He's one of those men you hear in the pub going, "She's mad, mate. She's mad, mate."
They're mad.
Yeah, they're mad, mate. There's always mate afterwards.
Okay.
Sorry, Matt, I'm completely put off you. And I
Oh, Matt.
Yeah.
No, let's not turn on Matt. He's joined in. He's
Okay.
making a point.
No.
You consider there are some women that you could imagine being frightened to dump in case, you know...
Man up, then.
The Bonnie boiling element. Man up,
yeah, man up and just dump them. That's what I say.
Well, there you go for any guys who are on the knife edge of whether to do it or not.
What else have we had, Gareth?
From Christine again, she says, "Hi again. My ex spent hours on Football Manager, even on our world tour." They went on some.
They
sort
went
of
on a world
yeah.
tour?
I don't know if they were in a band.
Who's she
or-
going out with? Bon Jovi? Really? Well, so that's an interesting way
Yeah.
of dumping someone.
So she says, "If you were in Rio, what would you do? Dancing or Football Manager?" He chose footy.
Well, I know what Frank would do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would. If I'd have been him, I'd have said to her, "Thank you for helping me on world tour." You're told.
No, I
I'm
would.
sorry, Christine, but there's plenty more fish in the sea, as I think
Yeah.
we established earlier, didn't we, with your fish industry
Yeah,
material.
apparently, although you've got to have strict quotas or the fishing gets out of control and there won't be any more fish in the sea. That's the
Yeah,
sobering
so don't go
thought.
out with too many people, Christine. Don't overfish.
And Frank,
That's
I've
it.
had an offer.
Yeah. Yes. Let me just find. We've got a new text thing, so it's slightly difficult to find.
It's Dan,
things.
Okay.
27
We're
from
halfway
Chelmsford.
into Ben Jones's show, but carry on, Gareth.
He said,
Frank, I'm getting married next week. I'm terrified. Should I run away and move to Morocco? Emily can come. Dan, 27, Sheffield.
I'm worried about him getting
Dan
married.
from Sheffield, that was.
Hmm.
Yeah. What if his girlfriend is listening today? How is she going to... Or should I say his fiancé?
Yeah. How's she
his
going to feel?
fiancé. Oh, no. Do you think that's a genuine thing? I kind of, as a man who walked away from a show this week at the last minute, yes, I have a certain admiration for people who do, on the day of the wedding and that, say to the driver, oh, actually, you can just keep going.
I do
Just
as
keep
well.
going.
I like a walkout.
Because how many people have actually got married thinking, I don't want to do this, I really don't want to do it, but it's just too embarrassing to say no. And they've just
Yeah.
carried on. I mean, it's incredible.
But you sort of said no to the wedding and then still had to go on the honeymoon. That's the thing. You still had to come to Edinburgh.
Oh, I see what you mean. I
see
thought you was
what I
on
mean?
about. I thought you brought my marriage up.
Yeah, I did as
That
well.
was, oh God, that was an awkward moment, I think, for all of us. Oh dear, I thought Gareth's got on his moral high horse. Oh, I've never been so. Well, I've never been.
Never
at all.
mention the wedding.
No, look, I'm going to do a plug now. This, hopefully, fingers crossed,
Yeah.
on Wednesday morning, you'll be able to download Not the Weekend podcast. I mean,
You never know.
it's a bit like, will there be snow this Christmas? Have your place your bets now. But we're going to try and we're going to do it,
Yeah.
and we'll see how that happens. Next week.
We're in Edinburgh again.
Yeah, that's what it says on my notes. It says next
that all it
week, ...
says?
Oh, as if
dear.
I'm supposed to know.
Well, maybe you're meant to. Maybe Ellipses. Maybe it's a band called Ellipses.
I think is that
Do you know
also
what I
a
mean?
question mark? There might be a next week, there might not. That's
Who
the
knows
other
what
thing.
the future holds for sure.
I don't know what that
Sorry,
note.
good
What
to
does that
say.
note mean, Emma?
That's telling you what the next song is. It's Joy Division, Love Will Tear Us Apart. Oh, this is the one, sorry.
Yes,
Oh,
next week.
It's,
Stop paying attention. No wonder it wasn't recorded.
All right, it's not all about you, Emma.
It means
You're supposed to wear headphones, not earplugs.
We need to talk about what's on next week.
Talk about what's on next week.
Or that you're back in Edinburgh next week.
Okay, we're back in Edinburgh next week. And who knows what'll happen next week. I mean,
Yeah.
if the good Lord spare us, we will be in Edinburgh next week.
I
Ben
might
Jones
be
is
with
on.
Dan in Morocco. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's an interesting... What, wearing a fez? I'm imagining you'll be wearing nothing but a fez. A sort of making breakfast.
Nothing but affairs. That's what it'll be.
Oh, with him playing the Sheik of Araby on a glockenspiel. Down, 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 down. Oh, anyway, look, it's been lovely talking to you all, and that's about it, isn't it? I think I forgot how to end the show. Poor old Ben, he's sitting in London going, come on, get on with it. He's so angry that his baseball cap is slightly raising above his head with rage. I'm sorry, Ben. So that's it. Thank you very much, and good day to you.